guys, welcome once again to the Coffee and Hero Show. Been a little while since I've been with you, been working on a hell of a lot of things behind the scenes. Been working on a lot of podcasts, some new podcasts as well that have went up on the system. Weekly deliveries are back and proving challenging. Doing all of this from home is probably tripling the amount of work that has to be done. Obviously in the store we've got it set up so that it's easy to, well, not easy, but easier to do deliveries, to process them, to do pull lists for people. And the store is set up to do that, whereas at home, we're obviously working with the space that is our home space, so to speak. So it just takes a little bit longer to do, and then it's a case of reaching out to you guys and trying to find out what works best for you in terms of deliveries, in terms of drop-offs. So yeah, it's as I'm sure it is for pretty much everyone in the world right now. It's just a very, very challenging time for the store. We'll definitely come out the other side of it. There's no problems there. We've been getting a little bit of financial support and stuff like that. And then you guys have been great about picking up pull lists and, placing orders and getting your pre-orders and all that kind of stuff. So, it's, I must admit, I've spoke about it before, but I think I spoke about it in the podcast more, but I just really miss the community aspect of the store. It's when you're in the shop and people come down and chill out and, grab a coffee or whatever else, it just feels much more like you're hanging out with your mates, and then you have a catch up, you have a conversation, and then you pick something up before you leave. At the moment it feels just more like a business. It's more like a turn up at someone's house, drop off comics to them or put them in the post, that kind of thing. And it's just so much more impersonal, which is not really what we're about. So I'm really looking forward to getting back to the social aspect of the store, and hopefully you guys are too. It's a lot of people have said that the store's a great outlet for them. It's a case of being able to, come to a place with like-minded individuals, have a conversation, have a catch-up, and, that kind of thing. So the sooner we can get back to it, the better, believe me. And, hopefully we'll have some good news in the next week or two. It's with regards to actually reopening. So, yeah, keep an eye out for that. In the meantime, obviously any announcements come out or anything, I'll stick them on social media, that kind of thing, and share it that way. But yeah, as I say, a few wee bits and pieces just to try and keep you guys entertained, keep myself entertained through lockdown. We've front loaded the podcasts in the last week. There's been new creator interviews put on there. There's been a new previews podcast. So the previews picks were done, and we did the podcast for it. I also did basically a breakdown of it last night and put it on the website as well. So check out coffeeandheroes.com and go on to articles, and you'll find there our recommendations from the book. I've put that all out there. The initial pre-orders are due by this Friday, which is the 22nd. So obviously if there's anything you guys are interested in, just get in touch and let us know. All the stuff's there. We broke down the DC book, the Marvel book, the indie book, and all the rest. So hopefully you guys will find that helpful anyway. And there won't be any titles you miss out on. So we have been working on that. I launched a new podcast, which is the Movie a Day podcast. And it's another thing I've been doing during lockdown, just watching a lot of movies, trying to be rigid in structure and watch one a day. The first one's already been released. The second one will be released in the next day or so. And I'm going to be working through all the James Bond movies now for the next couple of weeks. So an interesting one to go through there. And outside of that, just, been doing a lot of reading. I've started playing through Resident Evil 3 at long last. Really, really enjoying that. And then I'm just getting ready to get on to some of the TV shows. We finished Cobra Kai Season 3. That did not last long. We finished Daredevil over Christmas. We're halfway through Punisher. Want to finish that off. And then we want to get jumping on to WandaVision, which of course just launched there last week. Before I get into WandaVision, I actually just want to reread this. There's a lot of WandaVision that's apparently been taken from this run, which is the Tom Keane, Gabriel H. Walter run on the Vision. And apparently a lot of aspects have been taken from this. So I want to give that a wee reread before jumping back into Vision. And then I'm sure there'll be tons of Easter eggs and that kind of thing. So definitely something I want to do. And that's pretty much the catching up with us anyway. So, but you come here for comics news and comics reviews and all the rest and bits and pieces. So it has been a few weeks since I've done one. So I just pulled out a couple of bits and pieces that I've been really enjoying, certainly single issue wise, in the last 2 weeks. There will be new reviews podcasts going up, certainly, where we'll go into a lot more depth in this. But just to show off a couple of things I've really enjoyed in the last week or so, I thoroughly dug the latest issue of Venom. So this was issue 32. This is the second of 3 crossover issues for Keenan Black. So Donny Cates on writing and Iban Coelho on art. Couple of blasts from the past in this one as well. I think if you're a long-term Venom fan, you'll really, really dig that. I really enjoyed this Jenny Hex one-shot special. It was all to do with sort of family legacy, and it's the great-granddaughter of Jonah Hex. And there was some really interesting stuff in this, some sort of more sci-fi stuff in here as well, fourth world stuff. And yeah, just really, really dope. So really, really nice one and done. It does sort of hint at maybe a title down the line. But if you're looking at a good all ages title, I think this is something I'd really recommend. As I say, good wee one-shot that. Latest Thor was superb. Again, our man Donny Cates, Nick Klein on art. The art was another level in this one. This wasn't even like a big, massive sort of action-packed issue or anything like that. There's a lot of sort of plot progression here with Donald Blake meeting up with Jane Foster, finding out, you know, how she used to be a Thor. He didn't even know this, that kind of thing. You've got Thor trapped as well in the hellscape and so forth. But yeah, just really, really digging that, I have to say. And it's just, time and again, it's one of the best on the shelf. But, you know, with being a DC fan, I'm sure a lot of people wanted to know my take on Future State. I've read through maybe about half of what's been released so far. I've been reading all of them. I thought Harley was actually pretty good, with a really sort of unique take on some classic Bat villains. I really enjoyed the Swamp Thing one, which is going to lead to a really interesting looking Swamp Thing series starting in March. But the two standouts, you'll not all be surprised to know, are both Batman related. So you have The Next Batman and you have Dark Detective. So The Next Batman was pretty much about focusing on a Batman to succeed Bruce Wayne, and it is a member of the Fox family, as a lot of people know. But as well as that, in here you have, this is DC playing around with their new format. So there was actually a combination of 3 comics here. So you had The Next Batman itself, then you had a story featuring The Outsiders, and a story featuring Arkham Knights. And I really dug all of them. I thought the art was a massive standout for this issue as well. Just a really interestingly realised world. And it actually gives off Gotham a bit of a Mega City 1 type vibe, I think, which is something really, really cool. But the standout for me was Dark Detective, and that's because I'm a Bruce Wayne guy. I'm a classic, you know, comic reader. And this one focuses on an older Bruce Wayne who's essentially lost all his money. Batman has been completely outlawed, and he has essentially, in a weird way, he's contributed to this takeover of Gotham because he provided the technology for it. But everyone thinks Bruce Wayne is actually dead, but come on, he's not. Really great. I thoroughly loved the artwork, especially by Dan Moore. I've talked about it on here before. Huge Once and Future fan, huge fan of him on Batman, and I can't wait for A, the rest of Dark Detective, and B, he's taken over Detective Comics with a brand new starting point in March as well. But one of my biggest picks was actually this, which is Always an Invader. So this is a new Marvel hardcover. This is collecting the 12-issue mini-series that was written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Butch Guice and Carlos Magno. Really great celebration of Marvel's history. It came out the same year as sort of the 80th anniversary of Marvel, and was arguably the best thing that actually showed respect to the history of Marvel and so forth. Really big fan of that. Just out in hardcovers, I say that collects everything together and is a brilliant read. But I'd done a little end of year show as well. And before I move on to the invoice for what's coming out next week, we got a few more CGCs back, and I thought I'd just show you guys because I talked about my cover of the year, which was Venom number 28 by Kale Ngu. And just look at that. 9.8, which of course, very happy with. But again, it's just with getting back into wrestling recently, this is a big thing for me. I think the cover's outstanding. You've got Venom there holding up the belt, Spider-Man just crushed below his foot. But why settle for just color when you can also get the black and white sketch as well, another 9.8. I may have 2 of these, don't tell anyone. And then what was really cool about it was as well, while I don't love this cover quite so much, it fits in with the wrestling theme really well. And this was Venom 29. So with this one, I suppose you could look at it as, here comes a new challenger. Now the Venom has bested Spidey. You know I have null besting Venom, but absolutely love those covers, so just wanted to maybe show those off a wee bit. But I'm going to go into the invoice for this week, and again it'll be a case of the new releases will come to our house. Feel free to get in touch with us as well. I've been reaching out to as many people as I can, but there are some of our regulars that either they haven't messaged us on the page before, or I can't find them on Facebook, or I don't have a contact number. So if there's any of you guys out there that, you know, haven't heard from us or anything, get in touch with us and we'll organize the rest, whether it's a case of posting comics out to you, whether it's a case of doing a quick drop-off, a socially distanced drop-off to your door, or whatever else. So don't be afraid to get in touch with us as well. You know, I'm available, you know, all week, so I'll always get back to you on everything. But just to focus on this week, a lot of really good stuff this week as well. So just to take you through the invoice, what's expected. So we have American Ronin number 4, so the next issue of that awesome AWA series. The biggest one for me is undoubtedly Batcat number 2 is this week. So continuing on the Tom King Clayman, Tomoe Morai adventure. The last week there was a shed load of Kina Black tie-ins. This week there's only one, and that one is Black Cat, so number 2 this week. What else have we got? We've got trade paperbacks now arriving for Chew, so that's CHU, which is John Layman's prequel series to his original Chew, CHEW. For a little more info on that, go and search out the podcast. We did a really good interview with John Layman, thoroughly great guy. I've got the Daredevil 25 second printings coming, so this one's a little bit of a speculation type issue, I suppose, because, you know, spoilers for Daredevil 25, where you basically had Elektra take up the mantle of Daredevil. She's going to be in the cover of this, so a lot of people are then speculating this is the first cover appearance of Elektra. So I've got a few copies coming, don't have loads, but I have a few, so if you're interested in that, it is a kick-ass cover as well. Just get in touch. If you have any younger readers out there that you want to keep entertained and you want to get in touch with us, I have a whole pile of DC superheroes and super pet stuff coming this week. So you've got DC superheroes Batgirl, Batman, Supergirl, and Superman. And I've got Super Pets, Coast City, Horseshoe Heist, Ice Cream Caper, and Metropolis Monkey Trouble. So just something for the younger readers. We have the last issue of Deceased Dead Planet, number 7, coming this week. Still hilarious that it says number 7 of 6 on the invoice. What else have we got? So then we jump into the future state stuff, and this week we have Catwoman number 1. We have Immortal Wonder Woman number 1. Nightwing number 1. Shazam number 1. We also have Superman Worlds at War number 1. And then we have The Next Batman number 2 as well. We have a new Iron Fist series launching this week, which is Iron Fist Heart of the Dragon number 1. That's going to be a 6-issue miniseries. I managed to secure back into stock some of the John Wick graphic novels. So if you're a John Wick fan, really, really good prequel series there. Got Keenan Black number 3 coming this week. So this is a big one for a lot of people. And why shouldn't it be? Because Keenan Black has been great so far. We've got Maestro War and Pax number 1. So this is a follow-up series to Maestro, which focuses on a much older Hulk / Bruce Banner. We have Once in Future 15 coming this week. Power Rangers number 3. We also have Rorschach number 4, another series I'm immensely enjoying. Scumbag number 4 as well. This is a really good week for me, I have to say. We've got Stillwater by Zdarsky and Perez number 5 coming as well. Transformers 27 this week. Then we finish off with a couple of cool ones. We got Walking Dead Deluxe number 7. I'm really enjoying getting the feedback on Walking Dead Deluxe because so many of our regulars who are on it have never read it before, and it's good to see that the quality holds up because they're all raving about it. We also have more hardcovers coming up. Wonder Woman Dead Earth, which of course was my personal favorite title of last year. Got X-Force number 16 coming in as well. And then we finish off with You Look Like Death, Tales from the Umbrella Academy coming out as well. That is number 5. So tons to look forward to there, it has to be said. And, you know, more to throw in the pile this week. So yeah, just a wee quick look over a few different stories that have broken in the last week or so. I just thought it'd be cool to jump into. So some comic announcements first of all. So I'd said about the previews book, the order is due this Friday. That hasn't stopped DC already releasing information on stuff for April. So there's already some amazing looking stuff here. Tom Taylor, of course, one of our favorites. He was teasing all week that he was going to announce something new with DC. And he did it. He has announced Batman The Dark Knight, which will launch on April 13th. Andy Kubert, who did the art on Superman Up in the Sky and countless other titles, is on art duties, and colorist Brad Anderson, who was the colorist on 3 Jokers. So it's going to be a 6-issue limited series that takes Batman out of Gotham and on a European adventure. So what Tom Taylor said about it was, "I will leap at any chance to tell a Batman story at any time, but teaming up with a legend like Andy Kubert for a Batman tale is a dream and an honor. I have Andy's Dark Knight statue sitting on my desk so I can see exactly how his Batman is larger than life." So they released the cover art for this. So things kick off when a plane crash in the UK features the words Batman 147, and Bruce heads to Europe to investigate the scene and figure out what it all means, all while inching closer towards a showdown with his newest enemy, Equilibrium. So yeah, some preview arts already started coming out for this, and this looks great. Again, Superman Up in the Sky, one of my favourites, and the art in that the whole way through was phenomenal. There's also one for younger readers here that was announced, which looks really fun, which is Batman and Scooby-Doo Mysteries. This is going to be a new comic series that is going to be all ages, and it's going to kick off in April as well. It's going to start in digital, but then what they're going to do is they're going to collect it in print as well, starting in April. So something to keep an eye out for there, for the younger readers. There's also a new Robin ongoing series that has already been announced. So with Robin, I believe there's going to be 2 backup stories in the first issue of Batman and the first issue of Detective Comics after Future State in March. They're essentially going to serve as a prelude to this new ongoing Robin series. It's really interesting because some guys have said like they're not big Damian Wayne fans or that kind of thing. But then they see that Joshua Williamson is writing. Suddenly they're interested. The artist on this is Gleb Melnikov, who I believe was the artist on Ginny Hex. And the art in that was pretty great, as we said. So with this one, after learning of a deadly League of Lazarus tournament, Damian Wayne has a new mission to win the tournament and prove he is the greatest fighter in the DC universe. But first he must find the secret island where the tournament is being held. So yeah, I'm in for this all day long. Unlike a lot of people, I'm a huge fan of Damian Wayne, so bring it on. So a few other bits and pieces that have popped up, more sort of TV and movie based, I suppose. You know, kick things off with DC TV. So James Gunn posted up on Twitter the other day that he has already started filming on the John Cena-led Peacemaker, which is a spin-off from the upcoming Suicide Squad. It's going to be 8 episodes for a first season. Does this mean Peacemaker is going to survive the Suicide Squad? Or maybe it's a prequel. Who knows? But James Gunn has my money, so I'm on board for that. There's the inevitable Snyder Cut update this week. So Snyder was on Vero, which is a social media platform that nobody else seems to use except him. But someone actually asked if the Snyder Cut of Justice League would be a series or a one-shot movie. And he replied, it'll be a one-shot movie, which everyone's taken as it's basically just going to be a film. So it's not, I think originally they were talking about doing 4 one-hour vignettes, or vignette for a 1-hour thing, like 4 1-hour episodes. But it looks like they're just going to be releasing it as a movie, and that's it. Fine with me. Wouldn't matter if it got released as 4 single episodes or a movie. I'm watching it all in one go. But they did also say that they won't be able to call it Zack Snyder's Justice League. It won't be the final title due to some sort of legal reasons. He also indicated a new official poster will be coming soon, so keep a wee eye out for that. And then just to back up what's happening in the Snyder Cut, Harry Lennox, who played General Stanwyck in Man of Steel, has confirmed that he reshot some scenes and he is actually playing Martian Manhunter. So, interesting stuff there. A little bit of Marvel stuff now as well. It's been reported that Matt Damon is going to be in Thor Love and Thunder. He's been spotted in Sydney, and he will be doing something in Thor Love and Thunder. You may remember he had a small cameo playing Loki in like a stage play in Asgard at the start of Thor Ragnarok, which was a hell of a lot of fun, so it was. So it's unclear if he's playing the same role again or maybe a larger one. You know, obviously with travel and so forth at the moment, actors and actresses have to quarantine when they arrive in a new country. So you sort of get the impression that this isn't a flying in for a 2-minute cameo. It's probably going to be a bit more of a substantial cameo there. There was reports this week as well that Chris Evans is going to return as Captain America. Now this is a bit of a strange one for me, because Deadline Hollywood, who are very, very reliable when it comes to breaking this kind of stuff, they said that Evans was going to reprise the role in at least one Marvel property with the door open for a second film. And what it would be is that he would be a bit part character in these movies, sort of akin to Tony Stark in Spider-Man Homecoming, that kind of thing. But then like a day later, Chris Evans put a tweet up saying, "First I've heard of it." Now he didn't specifically say it was regarding this, but he did say, "First I've heard of it." So take of that what you will. I personally don't think he needs to come back. For me, the Captain America trilogy is the best of all the Marvel movies. Winter Soldier's still my favorite, and he's probably my favorite character. But he had a full arc all the way from, you know, Captain America, First Avenger, the whole way through to Endgame. So I don't think there's anything else to be explored there. The only thing I wouldn't mind seeing him in is doing a voice for the Marvel's animated What If series, something like that. Speaking of casting choices, though, Ethan Hawke has joined Moon Knight. So Oscar Isaac has already been cast as Mark Spector. Now, with Ethan Hawke, I'm a huge fan of Ethan Hawke's. You know, there's the Before trilogy, which he's class in. There's Training Day. There's Daybreakers. He's a very, very versatile actor. So he's going to play the lead villain, but nobody knows what it is. Now, if you go to the comics, Moon Knight's biggest enemy is Bushman, a fellow mercenary who turned on the hero after he became a conduit for the Egyptian moon god. So, might be Bushman, might be someone else. Either way, I think that is a fantastic piece of casting. A couple of other little bits and pieces that came in. There were some photos released recently for the upcoming adaptation of Mortal Kombat. I have to say, some of them look pretty good. I mean, I have a soft spot for the Mortal Kombat movies at the start. They're cheesy, campy, over-the-top, 90s fun, but there's no reason not to take this a bit more seriously and do something really cool with it. So we'll wait and see with that. But yeah, I thought some of the photos looked interesting enough, and let's be honest, these days you can do effects for anything. So like Sub-Zero and Scorpion stuff, all that kind of thing. It no longer needs to look cheesy and B-movie-esque. You can do that properly, you know, pretty seriously. I'd mentioned that I finished off Cobra Kai Season 3. Tried my best to ration it. I think rationing it amounted to 5 episodes in a row, 3 episodes in a row, 2 episodes in a row over 3 days. I just couldn't ration it. It was just too good. But the good news is that the viewing figure support are very, very strong through Netflix. This was the first one that Netflix had actually financed themselves. You know, they'd picked up the property from YouTube. I think it was YouTube Premium. Put it on Netflix, and it was a big hit, but this was the first one they actually financed themselves, so I'm sure they're relieved to see some return on that. I did read an interview recently that the creators had said that they have a 6-season plan, so we're only at the halfway point. Fantastic. Bring it on. And then just one last final story I thought would be worth throwing up there. So when it comes to comics, obviously everybody has their own speculating. Everybody in the long term hopes to make a little bit of money off it, you know, keeping their comics in great condition, that kind of thing. Well, Heritage Auctions just closed on a auction for a, quote, near mint issue of Batman #1 from 1940. Now that's one of my holy grails. Obviously I collect Batman Volume 1. I have a Millennium Edition reprint of it, so I do have the story. But I would love to get my hands on an original. Well, I don't think that's going to happen, because that near mint issue sold for $2.2 million. It became the record holder for the most expensive Batman comic sold at auction. Despite being an 80-year-old comic, it was certified 9.4 from CGC. Think about that, a 9.4 for an 80-year-old issue. That's incredible. You know, according to the trade, this specific issue was previously owned by a collector named Billy T. Gates, who bought it in 1979 for $3,000. Whoosh. Yeah, hold on to those comics, kids. Give it 80 years. You never know. Anyway, that's going to do it for me today. So, yeah, going to be trying to get back onto the YouTube stuff. Got a couple of starting points actually scripted out that I'm going to throw up soon as well for Superman and possibly for a mystery Marvel character. But I'll keep on top of that. As I say, I'm on top of all the podcast stuff. I am only one guy. I am trying to give you guys as much content as possible, but there's only so many hours in the day. So I will do my best. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this. Any issues, you like the look of coming out this week, just get in touch again and we can keep them held over for you. Again, with pull lists, guys, I mean, everyone has their own thing. Some of our regulars have been paying for them as they go and they'll pick them all up in one batch when we reopen. Some people would like weekly deliveries. Some people are happy to wait every couple of weeks till there's a good pile there. So, we're very versatile with it. So just get in touch and we'll get you sorted. Anyway, hope you guys are staying safe out there. Hope you enjoyed this and take it easy.